Okay, right. Nothing as David has highlighted on the on cable and on pound yen. It has been going sideways, but I just want to show you a couple of things on the Renko. And I also said about how, given that this is what you do when there's been a trend, and a very strong trend, and perhaps you don't want to take a reversal, you still think that there's more downside. What do you have to look at, and where would you get in, as it were? And cable is actually quite a nice example, and we're looking at the at the development of possibly that happening again with this particular pair. Although given what the CSI is showing us, what the CSI does, it not only does it highlight potential trades, but it actually tells you what is going on in kind of real time, and says, look, you've got to be a little bit patient. But there was a question that came up about the VIX, and David has the VIX on his on TradingView. But if you don't have TradingView, then you can go over to investing.com. Investing.com is a site that we recommend all our students use, partly because it's free, and you will find charts on practically, I think there's every instrument out there on this particular site. It's a great site. They have analysis as well. They sometimes take my analysis, which is very flattering. But you'll find all the charts that are that normally you'd have to pay for, such as the volatility charts. So what it is, we talk about the VIX. And the VIX is the most well-known of the volatility indices, and the VIX tracks the S&P 500. The S&P 500, you have to understand a little bit of background. The S&P 500 is like an international benchmark for risk. Everybody, every man and his dog uses the VIX as well. The S&P as well. If the S&P is going up in the US market, then sentiment is positive. And I know the Nasdaq has been roaring ahead because it's been driven by the tech stocks and what have you. But generally speaking, the S&P 500 is the international benchmark for sentiment, for rather risk on and risk off. Now, the other side of the S&P is obviously you have the option market, the puts and calls, and this is where the VIX comes in. And the way the VIX is used, it's like the fear index. So if the VIX is rising, it is assumed that there is fear coming into the market. If the VIX is falling, then it is taken that there is complacency in the market. The market's very relaxed about risk. It's taking on more risk, which is why you hear the VIX. But the other indices, both the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones, they have their own volatility indices, not quite so well known, but I just thought I'd mention them to you, because as I said, generally analysts, traders, they look at the VIX, and the VIX is taken as it's specific to the S&P, but it's used generically, as it were. But if you wanted to be more specific, then what it is, you have what's called the VXN, which is the volatility index specifically for the Nasdaq, and you have the VXD, which is the volatility index for the Dow Jones. And but you still want to see the same situation. If the index is rising, and we can see here the Nasdaq is now up 162. What you want to see is you want to see this falling, because that's how they work. It means market is willing to take on more risk. And in terms of what you see in the Forex market, you would expect to see the New Zealand dollar and the Kiwi dollar certainly rising, and possibly the Canadian as well. But just be aware, the Canadian today, there is a BOC meeting, so that's also going to be impacted as well. Right, we'll get back to cable. We were looking at cable, and we're looking at a possible technical reversal and the potential for taking a quick trade. And this all gets back to what kind of time frame are you comfortable trading? Are you comfortable trading the faster time frames, even based on the second charts? which you have available on NinjaTrader. You don't have that on MT4, MT5, because when we look at a Renko chart for the for cable, there was actually a trading opportunity. It was a very, very small opportunity. It was a few pips, but that might have been enough for you. And what you can do, if you don't have second charts on MT45, this is where you can use a Renko, but you would have to set your Renko at a very small value. This is set at 3 pips. That move that revealed itself on the NinjaTrader Renko, and that was a perfectly valid little move here. Why was it valid? Well, we had the trend dots turn blue, we had the trend monitor turn blue, and as we can see here, entry was when these are in agreement. So it was at 120. Let's have a look. 120. Well, I say 129.30. Where did it come off? 129.50. Possibly you take 10, 15 pips. Well, that might have been enough for you, but that hasn't appeared on the Renko version here, because I have this set at 3 pips. So that was just simply absorbed. That was just a little minor pullback in this trend lower. Now it looks like possibly cable is actually going to offer a trade, a reversal trade, a technical reversal trade. And it also depends on you as a trader. As I said, what time frame are you comfortable with? And do you consider yourself a more aggressive trader, or are you a little bit more conservative? You don't want to take on, you're not, as I said, you're not comfortable with these faster time frames. Or you may look at this and you think, do you know what? I actually think cable is much more likely to go to the downside, and I really want to first of all, if you trade short, markets always fall a lot faster than they rise. When you're going to the long side, it's always, one thing you can expect about when markets go reverse to the long side after a sharp fall lower is it's always going to be a bit of a grind, and you're going to have to be a little bit patient. And if you haven't got patience and you find it quite frustrating to watch prices moving high, I know you get injections of momentum and injections of volatility which kind of boost the price a little bit, but generally speaking, when from a reversal from a very fast and furious move lower, any reversal higher is going to be it can be a little bit labored. And if you find that frustrating, then maybe you do like to trade to the short side. I know David does, simply because of that. But it looks like possibly there is a more conservative a potential upside trade for cable, and we would wait for exactly the same signals. First of all, we want to see it in the time chart, and we can see here, and I've actually put the CSI at the bottom, and I've taken off all the other currencies. So all I've got is the pound and the US dollar, and we can see that. We've also got the volume point of control having moved up. This again, it was here when we looked at it earlier. It's now moved up. This little piece of price action here is the price action that we saw on NinjaTrader, but it looks as though it's going to have another attempt at breaking away. This is only the 3-minute chart, which is great. Well, got a nice up candle, got a reasonable amount of volume underneath, and it's kind of picking up a little bit of momentum as well, and that's also being reflected in the Renko, because Renko not only does it sort of give us the price, it gives us a beautiful picture of the structure of the price action in terms of a trend, a congestion, a resumption of trend, a reversal. It's sort of very clean from that point of view. But because this is fixed not at time but at pip value, this is 3 pips. If the market is moving fast, these bricks will come out absolutely, you know, one after the other, as it were. Now, you can't see that on a time chart because obviously a candle will only complete once that period of time has gone through. So it looks like it's trying to sort of, you know, gear itself up, as I said, but bear in mind what I said before, when markets are reversing from a very sharp and violent fall, you know, the move back higher can be a little bit labored. Now, is it time potentially to take this this trade? Well, we've had the congestion. Yes, the trend dots have changed. That's gone to a dark blue. Again, this comes down to how aggressive you are as a trader. Now, we had a similar situation there, and in fact it carried on lower. So the ideal would really to wait until these two are matching in color. Now, what we also have to look at is the support and resistance. Now, because it tells us, you know, how much room is there in this potential move, either higher or lower. Well, the good news is that at the moment it is over. It's sort of limped through the S2. It hasn't managed to pull away, but at least it's got a little bit of headroom above the S2 and the S1. So if you like, if it is going to go higher, you know, it's got some spaces, if you like. But if it was, if for example, if it was hitting a level just above there, you would think, do you know what, it's really gonna struggle. It doesn't mean it's not going to get through. It simply means it's going to struggle. And if we look at the daily chart, well, what are we looking at the daily chart? Obviously, that was yesterday's amazing fall. It's actually trying to get back to the S6. I've actually got this. This just happens to be a movement of 200 MA on here. It's a fractal based one, and you know that's also quite significant. So it's found a little bit. It's found some natural sort of technical support, as it were. But what's interesting on the daily chart, that if it does actually go through, we have what's called a low volume node, and it, you know, it's going to crash. It's going to crash lower even more quickly than it's done so far. But having said, this is the move lower. You've missed all that. Well, what do I do? This chart tells you what you do. You wait till the move comes to an end. You wait for a congestion phase. You look at the support and resistance in terms of price action and volume and the hierarchy. You know, we use Camarilla. You may use a Fibonacci. You may use a moving average. It really doesn't matter how you mark your chart with these significant levels of support and resistance, and you wait for the break and you take the trade once all these factors have been taken account of. And that's how you rejoin the trend. And you come out when, because obviously everything pauses, and we saw this pause, as I said, at the S3, and you look at the candles as well. I mean, obviously it got to the S3. We then had this hammer candle came in, not a massive amount of volume under it, but it was still a technical signal to say that that move lower was possibly coming to a pause. Do we get a V-shaped reversal? No, not really. V-shaped reversals happen off one candle, but what tends to happen, it's the first signal, and it tells you, yeah, that's, and certainly the more volume there is under there, the stronger the signal. So you wait for the congestion. That is, this happens to have been a reversal. We saw that reversal on the Ninja Trader. So there's all sorts of factors. You know, you see these signals on the charts, you play them. You have to kind of play them according to how, you know, what we call in our program your trading persona. Your trading persona, is something that develops, but you have to start by understanding yourself. You have to start by understanding, well, what kind of time frames do I like to trade? You know, do I see myself as you know, how comfortable am I staying in a trade? Do I like to get in and get out quickly because I'm really not, you know, comfortable being there a long time? And that doesn't matter. Also, do you have a touch of, you know, I'm not going to use the word ADHD in terms of, and by that I mean, how patient are you as a person? And just look at your daily life. You know, when you when you have a task to do you like to get it over and done with fairly quickly? You know, you don't like to sort of linger over things because you just want things to, you know, you want to get them over and done with. That's part of your personality. It's not a weakness. It's just you. And you think, okay, well, that's the sort of person I am. Maybe I am suited to the faster timeframes. And please ignore this thing about that, you know, you only, if you're younger, you know, you're below the age of 40, you know, anyone over the age of 40 shouldn't even be looking at the faster timeframes. It's absolute rubbish, because it's you as a person. Your personality will dictate to a greater or lesser degree the kind of you know, kind of trader that you will become, and because you've got to feel comfortable. But if you're not comfortable with the faster timeframes, you like to take slightly more considered, you like to consider all you know, different factors, then that's fine. But you have to feel comfortable. Whatever it is, comfort is really, emotional comfort is really important, because the last thing you want is to be stressed out when you are trading. And what looks like with the cable, it looks like it doesn't want to reverse, but is going to be a bit labored. The good now, in terms of stop losses, you can use the volume point of control, you can use price based, you can use the support and resistance areas, or you can use the Camarilla levels as well, both for stop placement and also for potential price targets. Is there anything you want to add to that, David, or is that it? And finally, just as I was going to say, always look at the CSI, because what the CSI is also telling you, at the moment they are going in the kind of, can you see that little divergence we had here? And now they're moving in the same direction, which is actually what we don't want to see, because that's also telling us maybe this move is coming to an end. And as a conservative trader, well, you probably wouldn't, you know, you still wouldn't be in there. You wouldn't have taken this trade. But if you go over to the Ninja Trader, where are we? Yeah, you probably could have snicked about 6 or 7 pips out of there. Again, very much depends on you. There is no right or wrong way to trade these markets. It really depends on you and what the charts are telling you. And what was I going to say? Also, if you wanted to speed up, you would set that. This is set at 3. It has 2 functions on the MT45. You can either set it what's called the ATR. You let the indicator tell you what the pip value is, and sometimes it'll come out at 7. You know, it just reads the speed of the market based on, as I said, the value, an ATR value, or you can set it yourself. But you have to remember, if you do set it to a faster pip value, you know, 1 or 1.5 or 2, then you know it is purely for faster scalping. You are going to get a lot of, as we see here on the Ninja Trader, which has actually come out. This is 1.6 at the moment, which is a very low value. As you can see here, you get a lot of in, out. You know, you do have to accept that you are going to be, you know, you're going to be stopped out on a more regular basis, but your stop loss is going to be very, very tight. And when it does run and you get a 10-15 pip move, it's great. And that's, you know, but again, that pretty much depends on you. Right, I'm just going to pass over to David. Thank you so much for coming along. Now, slightly different today. We are actually back later. We've got 2 today, which allows us to catch up on what's been happening this morning. And what time is it? Slightly different time, David? 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock UK time. So I know some of you will come along, and we'll also have the traders joining us from the US. I'm just going to pass back to David and he can wrap up. We've gone over slightly longer than anticipated as usual. There is a recording. It'll be chopped up into 2 or 3 videos, and they'll be posted up on YouTube later today.
Thanks, darling. And as Anna said, we've run way over time. What I've done, I've just switched over onto the Cad Yen just to give you a flavour of the strength of the trend there, which I highlighted here. The Aussie, the Yen, New Zealand, but you can see it on the Cad here. Yen's still falling, Cad's rising nicely. Really nice, strong trend developing. Breaking away from the VPOC on 5 here. gone through this, what was resistance, now support. Trend monitors blue throughout. You can see here, you know, that's transitioned down onto 10-minute. Really nice, strong move in terms of a nice intraday trend. And, you know, maybe a little bit way to go. We've got the yen's got a little bit more to go. CAD perhaps flattening off a bit, but, you know, it's still rising nicely. Those are the trends you're looking for the whole time. The strength of the trend, you know, is displayed for you visually on the currency strength indicator. We've got a volatility trigger coming in here. So what are we expecting? Possibly some congestion to build, and so on and on up we go. We are going to have to run. We need to take Bertie for a walk. Bless him. He's been very patient. Just to highlight the various sites where you can find all the information. QuantumTrading.com, this is where you'll find all the indicators, MT45, NinjaTrader 78, TradingView, TradeStation, yes, it is coming, another couple of weeks and we should be there. Huge amount of work gone into that for both version 9.5, which is TradeStation Global with the interactive brokers feed. So if you have an interactive brokers account, you can hook it straight through to TradeStation, have all the indicators and all the advantages of trading a big discount brokerage, and have the benefits of trading on TradeStation, which is a fantastic platform. And then we've got TradeStation Securities, which is TradeStation 10. Both have radar screen, which is immensely powerful, wonderful mechanism for highlighting trading opportunities, for managing all the opportunities, just a terrific platform per se. Once we've done that, once that's launched, we'll be dropping back onto TradingView. We're going to port all the other indicators across that are missing because we've now got object and line drawing, which we didn't have at the time in the Pine script. So that's great news. So we'll be moving those across. And if you have the TradingView full package, if you invested with us earlier on, then you will at a cheaper rate, I have to say, at $600 and something, you will get all those indicators free of charge as a thank you from us. So it's a pretty good time to actually buy the TradingView package, our full package, because the price will then go up. As soon as those indicators are added to it, the price will be aligned with the MT45 package over here. So it's not a bad time to be buying. So that's that, all coming along. And then once we've done that, we've got obviously loads of work to do. There's other platforms coming along. We'll be looking at multi-charts. We've got various indices, indicators to tidy up as well, add on some of the add-ons that we've put onto the TradeStation platform. So that's where you find it, quantumtrading.com. This is the education program. It is called the Complete Forex Trading Program because that's exactly what it is. It covers everything you need to know. These are the 5 core modules: psychology, fundamental, relational, technical, and mechanics of trading module. And then you've got all these other options down below. You've got VPA chart examples, how to use the indicators, of course. We explain that in detail, pulling it all together, your checklists, how to get started, topic webinars, webinar library and resources. There's over 200 hours of video in here. I know we've got a lot of students on the call today. It is a fantastic program. We're very proud of it. It does cover everything you need to know, and of course has the VPA trading room, which Anna and I host every day, so you can join us there. And it includes all the indicators as well, so you have the full set of indicators. It's just, we are very proud of it, and certainly from the feedback we received from our students, they are delighted with what we've put together. It took a long time to roll it out, but we're just so pleased with what we put into it, and you know, we just hope you enjoy it as well. You can follow Anna at annacooling.com. Annacooling.com is the domain. That's where we put all the analysis up. You'll find all the books here as well, all up on Amazon in both Kindle and paperback. So they are all there, plus all the links to all the other sites as well. So that's it. We are going to have to run. Thank you so much for coming along today. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope we've answered all the questions. I think we have. And we will be back at 3 o'clock this afternoon for the US session, which will be underway at 2:30. So we will be back at 3 o'clock for another session with you. So look forward to joining you then. If you're not coming along to that one, enjoy the rest of the trading day, enjoy the rest of the trading week, and we will see you. Remember, next week we're back to the regular Tuesday slots. So it'll be 2 webinars on Tuesday. The first one 7:45, the second one at 3 o'clock, but that will be back to Tuesday for next week and the run through to Christmas, which is quite a scary thought. There we go. Thanks so much. See you again soon, and bye for now.